Wedding today with the GTX 580 in SLI. This is the 2010 video card from Gainward. Actually, I got one Gainward and one from MSI. Today we're gonna see how this setup is working with 512 shaders, 1.5 gig of VRAM GDDR5. Actually, the other one has Hynix GDDR5. One has Samsung and one has Hynix, but never mind. 384 bits bus width, 783 megahertz on the core clock, and 1005 megahertz on the memory clock. I'm gonna pair it up with this i7 4th Gen. I'm gonna test this setup and see how it's running in a couple of games with SLI. Nevertheless, let's jump in a couple of games and see how the 580s are working in SLI. Let's jump into GTA 5 and see how the setup is working. DirectX 10, 1080p, FXA enabled because we want good edges. Everything is on normal and without any frame scaling. Let's jump in. It's kind of trippy to see this. It's working really nice. 80 FPS to GTX 580s, but it's glitching. Oh damn, Daniel. Kind of good performance overall, 70 degrees on both of the GPU, bare 31% load on the core, so that's not a big problem for those video cards. But the only problem I have is the VRAM. It's reaching the limitation. I think the best and the ideal will have been to have 3 gig of VRAM on both of them, but it doesn't add it up. It's just using 1.5 from both of them. A bit disappointing because that would have been a very good question. Which one is better? Which one will you choose? 2 GTX 580 in SLI with 1.5 gig of VRAM, or only one GTX 580 in the computer with 3 gig of VRAM? So which one do you choose? GTX 580 3 gig or 2 GTX 580 1.5 gig in SLI? I will take that 3 gig all day apparently, because it's much better to have 3 gig of VRAM. Is it okay to have this setup in the PC? Yeah, apparently it's freaking fantastic. I love this setup. It's kind of cool to see 2 GTX 580 in SLI. Actually, for a very long time I wanted to put them in SLI like this, and I was curious if they are working because the models of the video cards are totally different, you know. I have 60 FPS on average, you know, there's no problem with it. The cores are doing the job, the memory is doing the job, everything is okay with this in every single corner aside the VRAM, you know. Temperature wise, the CPU is not stressed. I'm gonna have 45 watts consumption. That means it's around 50% maximum load. The CPU, it's using 7.7 gig of system RAM. Everything is balanced in the PC with this type of game. Okay, let's jump into Modern Warfare 3 because it's funny to play this game when the new one is out. I have everything on maximum details, and let's see how the setup is working. All right, look at this. Wow, this is so great. So how much we got? Look at this, 40%, 50% load on the cores. Oh, this is kind of cool, the performance in this. 91 FPS, 700 megabytes on the VRAM. Dude, the whole system is fantastic. Oh my god, the aimbot. Okay, so the GPUs are performing really nice. 67 degrees, 62 on the core, which is not bad for the SLI, you know, but the temperature just reflects the performance they have on the core. The cores are not utilized, but at the same time, I can benefit from being cooled. 91 FPS is there, you know, with this system. This is exactly what I need from a video card like this. If you manage to set up the game in such a way that your hardware is benefiting from it, I think you are the winner in this situation. Like in this case, how it's running in SLI. 800 megabytes of VRAM only used, 40-50% load on the cores. That's actually good. It's not good, it's fantastic, in my opinion. Let's jump into Black Ops 2 and let's see how the game is performing on 1080p with maximum details. SLI needs to be okay with this configuration, so there needs to be no problem. So how is Black Ops working in SLI with maximum details? 200 FPS. Barely using the core, seriously. I mean, using the core is 50% load on the cores, you know? Look at that. Actually, in some situation, it's reaching 100 FPS, 100%. I mean, if the VRAM is not fully loaded, that means FPS will always be constant. I wish I had DisplayPort on this, because it would have been fantastic, you know, to see this type of setup running with 200 FPS on DisplayPort. That would have been a dream, you know, to put a monitor now on this type of setup. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a great setup and a great entertainer. When it comes to old GPUs like Black Ops 2, it's always on point when it comes to SLI compatibility. You can actually see how nice it's rolling with the cores. The VRAM is not maxed out. The details are maxed out, so can't complain in this situation, you know. I like it. I like this attitude of fast-paced game with older hardware that are still alive. In some situation, I think I will have a problem with the GPU because this is Windows 7 and Steam will not work on it. I'm just curious, how can I make this video card work in Windows 7 with Steam, because it will die in the future. Let's jump into Battlefield and see how it's running. I want to see the settings here because I think there is a possibility that I can actually put everything on maximum, ultra. VSync no, field of view no. I'm gonna apply it like this because I want to max out the game and see how beautiful this game is. I'm actually needing my averages here. Oh, I see somebody. Went too fast. Managed to kill somebody. I feel like I'm going to die here. Somebody's gonna come and just bang me. Second kill, yes. No more bullets. The amount of details it requires for this game to be pushed, it's under 1.5 gig of VRAM, and if you put them on SLI, it performs like this, 1.1. The core is maxed out, but it gives you 120 FPS. But if you lock it to, let's say, what monitor you have, then it will be even more fantastic. Yeah, Battlefield is running insane with this combination. The CPU has no problem on the other hand. It's only using 5 gig of system RAM overall in this game with barely 50 watts consumption. Let's see how it's running in Battlefield 4. I think it's maximum details and the SLI is maxed out. Look at it, 1.5 gig of VRAM used, 88% core load. Okay, let's take a look and see the settings. Ah, yeah, it's on ultra. Let's put it on low detail. Oh, it's working 80 FPS now on low details. This is the only time I'm playing with a tank that is working in SLI. Because World of Tanks doesn't work in SLI. But even on low details, apparently the system is lagging, not lagging, it's reaching maximum load. Look at this, 1.4, nearly 1.5 gig of VRAM used. How is it possible? This is insane. I mean, the game looks fantastic, you know. It was working much better in Battlefield 3 and Black Ops, you know, Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3. But you can actually see that the more you go in games that are compatible, you'll end up with a bottleneck. In some situation, it's dropping below the playable FPS, but it's working. This is low details, and the scaling in the game is fantastic. The GPU usage, the core on the GPUs are so hot, like really hot in the room, because look at it, 93 and 91 degrees. I have to stop it soon because it's kind of hard on them. Crysis 2, yes, 1080p, high detail specs. Yeah, apparently I'm on very high, very high, extreme and ultra. Is my SLI compatible with the game? Yes, it's perfectly scaling. I have no problem on the average. The frame time is very linear in this situation. You know, the system RAM, how much I got? Around 5 gig of system RAM. That's usually the average number that I get with the system. In this case, I'm not gonna lie, but the CPU, it's just a little lower than the previous game that I played, you know, so it's doing a fantastic job, the CPU. On the other hand, the cores here in this game, they are not maxed out. Only 70-80% load, and that is good. Imagine trying to play the game on maximum details. I'm only on low details, I mean high details, because you got ultra, maximum and extreme and that. What are you doing there? Seriously, this is only 1.5 gig of VRAM, and this is one thing that I wanted to see, because in the future I want to test some different type of video cards, you know? What happens if you... What do you mean 25 FPS? I put VSync on and it's showing me, what do you mean 25 FPS? It says 25 FPS here with VSync on, but I have 60 Hz in the background. So I was actually curious how the system is looking with VSync on. But with 25 FPS, it feels like I'm in slow motion. No. This VSync is stupid, seriously. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it, seriously. I was expecting 60 FPS, you know, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I understand Crysis is working. Let's see how Dragon Age 2 is working with this setup, because, yeah, I remember last time it's working really nice with SLI, so I'm interested in games that run with SLI, yes? So Dragon Age 2 is one of those games that is running really nice, and it's not utilizing nothing maximum, so the bottleneck is not with GPUs. The fact that it's running so nice with this SLI, and it's maximum details, 1080p, everything is put to maximum, and look at how it's working. 930 megabytes of VRAM from 1.5. This is one of those games that you have to check it for this type of system, yeah? 70-80% load on the core, the GPU is not heating up, I mean it's 84. The GPU is heating up, but like I said before, Fermi is not known for being cool. They look cool, but they're not cool. All right, so with VSync, I put 60 FPS. Yeah, 60 FPS on locked. The frame time is fantastic. The GPU starts to cool down because it doesn't need more than 30-40% to actually deliver that performance. So in this situation, I'm kind of golden, you know? So yeah, I'm not gonna complain here about this system. I have to turn around, smack his head. Wow, brilliant. Damn, that was a lot of fighting here. Perfect scaling, perfect utilization in with the cores, perfect balance between the details and the VRAM. You know, everything is good with this game and the SLI. So this type of setup, it's actually showing me in the future what I will get with two GPUs on 1.5 gig of VRAM. So this is actually fantastic to see, because it shows me what games I need to test and what games I need to play in the future. This is for me, because that was something that I wanted to see if one video card like a GTX 590 with 1.5 gig of VRAM, it's better than two GTX 580 in SLI with 1.5 gig of VRAM. This is something that I will test in the near future, and I want to see how they are performing together, you know. What I really want to say about this type of setup is that if I want to pick 580s, I will pick the 580 with 3 gig of VRAM and no SLI, because I will win in the VRAM situation. I played with that 3 gig of VRAM and I liked the performance with 3 gig, and everything was flawless with that. I like the performance from the SLI, but some games requires more than 2 gig of VRAM, and yeah, I think it will be ideal to swap the 1.5 to 3 gig if it's possible to get it cheap. That's the only requirement. This is 500 series, so any video cards that is less than 5 years will just butcher this type of combination. But if you're interested in an old setup or resurrecting your old hardware, or manage to find it cheap, or you got it for somebody for free, it doesn't matter. If you end up with 500 series in front of you, that's it. 3 gig is better than 1.5 GTX 580 in SLI. That's it. It's that simple. Efficiency, 3 gig of VRAM, and yeah, I like every SLI setup. The fact that there were no glitches and everything was working perfectly. Freaking brilliant. I love the setup and how it was working, seriously. Leave a comment and tell me what do you think about the setup.